All right. I guess we're live here, Dustin.
Yes, sir.
Well, we
But,
know we're late.
yep. Apologies on that.
Well, some things happen. Your work when it happens like it does, you got to go, and
Yeah,
that's what's happened out here.
I, I really didn't, when I got out of being a police officer, I thought my emergency response days were over with, and then I've kind of got into this into the storm call out world, and you never know when it's going to happen. Sometimes it definitely happens when you're trying to enjoy your last hunt of the year.
And that's exactly what happened. Well, just so we catch everybody up, I guess. Turkey season, of course, didn't go out in Tennessee until the 26th. So that was, when was that? Saturday? Sunday, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we had the weekend before, and we thought we'd just go run back up to Tennessee and try to fill your tag. And
on Monday. We went on Monday.
We went on a Monday. I got up at 2. You got up somewhere between when I got up and got to your house, and we pulled out of there about 3-ish, headed to Savannah, Tennessee to see if we couldn't get one more bird to cooperate. But in the mix that, we'll get to the whole story of that, but you got a call there toward the end of the day about the storms that had hit Texas, and you didn't have much of a choice, but, well, I don't guess you had a choice. You had to get home, get packed, and pull out of there the next morning, so you had two super long days for sure.
Oh yeah.
But
and a super long week since I've been in Houston.
Yeah, I didn't even think this was going to happen. I knew we was going to have to do something. I had even thought about talking to you. I didn't know how long your days were, and maybe seeing if I couldn't get, somebody call somebody and let them kind of like sit in, and if I had to get a Nick or an Alex or somebody, they'd have helped. But even pull Rebecca up here if I had to. But when I text you tonight, I firmly thought you'd probably already be in bed. But I just thought, well, I'm going to get this done because I'm pulling out in the morning, not in the morning, but tomorrow evening, headed to Central Florida. I got my granddaughter's kindergarten graduation, and we hadn't seen her in so long. We thought we'd head off down there, do that, and then spend a couple of days in our favorite little town, Cedar Key. Oh, I didn't tell you this, but my old man is going with us, so this will be interesting.
Oh, he's going to make the trip.
Oh God, yes, because that'll
be fun.
Well, okay, all right. I'm going to bring him along. I'll bring him along on one of our runs to Michigan or Ohio and see how fun you think it is. No, I mean, he loves Lily, and he hadn't seen her. He didn't even get to see her at Thanksgiving, I don't think. So he found out.
Yeah, and that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool because she'll remember her great granddaddy.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's really cool.
So I thought, well, he's never been down in that part of. I'm sure he's been in that part of Florida, but he's never been to Cedar Key, and so I'm kind of interested to see how he reacts to that, because it's a little walking town, or you get a golf cart, and we'll get there. Yeah. We'll get there late Thursday night, and have Friday and Saturday, and of course we're going to get up and come home Sunday morning, make that drive back, because I think it's about 9-10 hours by the time you stop, get gas, eat, and all that stuff. But
well, you'll never believe it, but I was once again I was caught up in a severe thunderstorm again today with 70-mile-an-hour winds, and they were giving 1 inch hail. I think the biggest hail I seen was about pea size, but I did see some treetops come out, some power lines go down. Of course, Houston, Texas, it floods really easy.
Well, that's where, we haven't even told anybody where you were. So you're in Houston, Texas, cleaning up from a storm about 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, they had a tornado that, it kind of done like it did today. Everybody said they were just enjoying the day, and then all of a sudden this thing come out of nowhere. And same way today, we had beautiful weather and super, just a beautiful day, and nothing seemed out of sorts. And I was actually updating the map, and I had sunglasses on. I was like, man, it's getting dark. I took my sunglasses up to look at my map, and it was dark outside. It went from just bright sunlight to dark, and I pulled the weather up, and of course, there was a severe weather alert there, and I was looking to the north, and it was super dark, and it said, 60 to 70 mile an hour winds could produce tornadoes, up to 1 inch hail, and one of my drivers called. He said, man, it is coming a flood where I'm at. And he said, the wind's starting to get up. Well, it wasn't long after that. I was sitting in a parking lot. I made sure I wasn't under any trees. And the little metal signs in the parking lot, I seen them start, just all of a sudden, just start vibrating. And I'm in my 3/4 ton truck, and guess what? It starts shaking, and I'm thinking, no, I can't do another storm like this. And it was pretty. It was pretty sketchy. For at least I wasn't in an Alps ground blind, but it was still pretty sketchy. I told the guys, because they're in those big haul trucks, and I said, leave your outriggers down when you get in the truck, because we've done that before. Like, we've been working hurricanes, and another hurricane come in while we're there, and us either have to evacuate or ride it out, and we'll put those outriggers down so the trucks can't flip over. And so a lot of storm chaser vehicles have outriggers, and that's what I was telling them. I sent them a text, and I said, I'm gonna have to put outriggers on this 3/4 ton if we're gonna go through many more storms like this.
I can see that black Denali with outriggers.
Yeah, well, and I'm not gonna hold it up, but with my luck, brand new set of tires, and I start seeing the low tire pressure light, and I've got not just a saw wrench, but I've got a steel full size saw wrench with the Torx on it that has pierced all the way through my tire, and I come through so much flood water. I don't really know where I picked it up, but anyway, I've got a brand new tire ruin this evening as well. So it's been a great day, and it's the traffic in Houston something.
When you sent me that picture of the radar and the picture of the metal steel chainsaw tools, what we're talking about, not just steel, but the tool that what tightens the bar up and everything. It's the whole thing. Takes the spark plug out.
Yeah. Yep, takes the saw apart.
Actually, I told one of the girls at the office, I said, I thought it was me and him had bad luck. I said, but he's out there by himself. I'm here, and it's beautiful blue sky day. And I said, I think I'm just getting caught up in his bad luck when I'm with him. So now,
hey, that's a possibility.
I've been caught in some sketchy weather before you and I got together, but it seems like every big trip we go on or go somewhere like that, that's what happens. We get into some kind of silly storm. I'm afraid to go anywhere in the wintertime. We liable to get iced in.
Well, if you think about it, though, when you're hunting, especially when you're turkey hunting, especially when it's, getting this time of year and we're trying to hunt out west and stuff, the weather's just so unpredictable.
Oh, yeah.
Day before yesterday, it was, I don't know, like 98 degrees with a heat index of 117. And we're just now toward the end of May. So, I tell you something that was weird also. Typically, when it's humid and sticky and hot like that, and a storm rolls in and it comes in quick and goes out, typically it gets super hot after that. Well, not here. The temperature dropped, tremendously. I'm talking about like 20 degrees. So I don't know. Weather is pretty interesting. I guess I can see how people, kind of get into wanting to be a meteorologist, or maybe they do it as a hobby. There's a lot of people that track weather as a hobby.
Well,
but
I always wanted to go chase tornadoes, but after being around you and actually nearly being in a couple of them, I don't know if I even want to attempt that. Especially, I wouldn't attempt it if it was me and you chasing them because I know what would happen. So,
well, did you see where there was 150 people in that Love's truck stop in the restroom?
yes, I sure did.
Yeah. I'm telling you, I mean, when these things pop up and it's open country, there's just, I mean, you got to you don't have much time. So that's like today. I mean, I've already been kind of thinking about the weather here because there was another part of Texas got hit earlier this week, and Missouri and Kansas and Oklahoma. Oklahoma got
pounded again.
Yes, but I got to thinking, with all the people that's in Houston, Texas, there is, I guess we're lucky where we live out in those rural areas in Alabama because, there's a lot of government-funded storm shelters that's been put in it to volunteer fire departments and things like that. There's no place you could shelter all the people that's in Houston, Texas.
No,
I mean, there's no way. I mean, you would never have a parking lot big enough to even if you had several storm shelters spread throughout Houston, Texas. Well, there's just way too many people.
Well, yeah, there's millions. I assume the city's got 1 million people in it. I just imagine half of them trying to go somewhere and get in a shelter, just parking and trying to get in. It'd be blowed over or they'd be blown away before they could get inside. So
right.
But. Well, we had, like I told you earlier when we was just talking before we started, we had a good storm here come through. Oh, it was early Monday morning because I was going to load up my tractor and go down. Me and that guy, I had a prospective member. I was going to show around. I just told him we'd have to do it another day. I wasn't going to. They were calling for storms all day, although it did end up turning off pretty and it didn't do anything else pretty much after 8, 9 o'clock in the morning.
But it was probably a muddy mess down there.
Well, yeah, because I was going to take my tractor and do a little bush hogging and road clearing and try to get things ready, so I could go do some summer planting, which we will be talking about down the road. I told you I thought this might be our last turkey episode, but if we go and touch base with some of these people we talked to earlier, see how their season went, I'm sure we're going to have maybe 1 or 2 more peppered in. I hope everybody ain't sick of it, but, that's what we do. So, maybe we can get Peyton back on. I really want to get Wes on. He's never been on.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
He just got finished. He was up in Michigan this past weekend.
Oh, he ended up making it to Michigan?
Yeah, he made it up there, him and another guy, because he made a post. You'll have to look it up. But he's talking about he had never had to put up with hikers and bikers and hunters and just people out enjoying the weekend. But they brought some turkeys with them, which...
I'm sure he did.
That's the turkey whisperer right there. I don't care where he goes, he kills. I would really be interested to know where he's went that he hadn't killed a turkey on a trip. That'll be an interesting question when we can get him on. But let's get back to the 20, what was it? 20, I don't know, whatever that Monday was there.
Yeah, date-wise, I'm not exactly sure.
Yeah, it was, I don't know. I can pull up my calendar, but I don't even.
It would have been the 20th.
Okay.
Yep. It would have been the Monday before Memorial Day.
That's right, the 20th.
Yeah.
But we pulled up. We drove all wee hours of the morning and got up there and pulled up to the gate. It was just braking light. It was braking light pretty good, but it wasn't bad. And we got inside and did what we were supposed to do when we got there and run over to the spot. It was actually the spot where we killed those 2 turkeys because we knew there was another one in there and probably 2 or 3 more close.
Right.
And I was getting, I think I was putting my tetras in, and you thought you heard, well, you're pretty sure now you heard a turkey fly off the limb. I didn't hear that one because I was over there busy rattling around with that stuff.
Well, it was actually just, 20 yards from the truck.
Yeah, I assume it was just roosting right there in those big oaks. But I didn't hear it, but we eased off down the hill. You can kind of tell the story because it's kind of funny. I've never had it happen to me before.
And especially twice within 50 yards.
Yeah. Yeah.
50, 75 yards. We were going in to listen. We've got a spot there we like to listen at because there's 2 or 3 different fields in that area, and you're kind of up halfway between all of them. And me and Anthony get to walking in, and all of a sudden I hear another bird fly off the roof, and we look up to see if we can see the bird.
Yeah, I heard that one because it was on top of us.
It was still kind of dark, so I mean we knew it was a turkey, and then all of a sudden we start seeing little specks of something coming at us, and a poult almost hit Anthony in the head. I mean, we had little poults flying down around us.
It was raining poults. They were just hitting the ground and bouncing and taking off. And one of them he kind of stood there. He didn't know what was happening.
Yeah, I mean, it was something else. And we, of course, we got to stop for a second and me and him talk about that. We're like, I was like, man, you seen them poults? That was crazy. So we're like, okay, well, that's over. Let's get on down here and maybe see if we can hoot.
You hadn't hooted yet. We just bumped them walking down.
No, we were still trying to get to our spot. And I don't know, we probably went another 25 to 50 yards, something in that range. And all of a sudden, another bird flies off the roost and more poults fly out. It was just raining poults, as Anthony put it. It was amazing. And, of course, you love to see poults because there's your turkeys for the future. So
yes, and it looks like they had a great hatch.
Yes.
Because even later that day, we saw more poults in a totally different place. But
yeah, opposite side of the property. And we didn't do any good on the roost.
No,
and
you hooted, nothing.
And we kind of set up for a little while, made some soft, done a little soft yipping, tree calling, and didn't get nothing to bite on that. So we pulled out and ran to another spot that me and Anthony, we've seen several birds in that area, work in that area, and we thought, well, we haven't hunted it yet, so we'll go give that a try. And we parked the truck and started our little walk down to there, and I saw a bird, and I told him, I said, there's a bird right there. So he gets his binoculars out, and he said, it's a hen. And I said, well, I think there's one on the opposite side of that road as well. And so we just kind of get tucked against the wood line, and we're standing there looking at them and trying to make sure that one of them ain't a gobbler. And all of a sudden, I kind of looked to my right, and I told him, there's another bird coming up the road. And that's when that hen, she just comes straight out the middle of the road.
She just came walking up the road. We couldn't do anything, could we?
No, we were standing there just trying to be still. And,
turned into a statue.
And she never seemed alarmed. Apparently that mossy oak was working for us.
Yep. Man, we could do so good for mossy oak if they'd just reach out to us. I could give testimonial after testimonial how good that stuff is. But I mean, she was she wasn't 10 yards away from us, and us just standing there. I mean, we did have a big thick backdrop behind us, but we weren't up in it at all. We were standing out on the edge of the road, basically.
Yeah, I mean, there was a small gap between us and the wood line, but we couldn't move. I mean, we were just kind of stuck. And she finally fed. She into a little.
Yelped a few times.
Yeah,
it was amazing.
She little feeding purrs. Yeah, we couldn't get a phone up. We tried to sneak a video, but she'd put her head down, and we'd try to make a little bit of a move, and then she'd put the head back up and start looking around, or turn our way and start eating again. And we were like, we're just stuck right here. And then she got to feed and kind of back off the way she came, but she was in the field. And then all of a sudden, here come another hen.
Yeah, she came out of
And
nowhere.
apparently, I'm pretty sure she was probably sitting on eggs because she come and run that other hen. I mean, ran her all over
I
the
thought
place.
she was going to run her up on us there for a minute. She ran her all over.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, she was
She ran her plumb back out in the middle of the road and was chasing her up the middle of the road. It was exciting. It was neat. It was interesting to get to watch that. And so those birds finally, well, the one that we're pretty sure was sitting on a nest, she went back to where she came from. The one that was in front of us, she went on finally across the field that she was in. The other two fed and went back up the hill.
Yep.
Over
the hill from us
and
away from us down the road.
And then we kind of thought, well, we ain't heard anything or seen anything for a while, so we'll stand up and try to, go to the bathroom and do what we need to do and maybe make another move. And we stood up. Anthony spotted another bird in the field across from us, so we had to get back down. And she fed for, 45 minutes?
At least 45 minutes.
So then we thought, okay, she's fed off. We can maybe try to get a potty break in now. And as we're standing up, I see another bird, and Anthony gets binoculars and starts looking. He said, "It's a hen," and then he says, "Hang on, there's a gobbler behind her." So, but how far do you think those birds were, Anthony, when we seen them?
They was probably
200 plus,
maybe 300 yards, over 200.
And
we thought he was following her because he was right behind her when we first saw him, and then they kind of swapped positions and moved around, and then she kind of turned her feet out into the field, but he didn't.
And we put a few calls on her or on them, and she turned and started coming toward us. And then all of a sudden he disappeared in the tall grass, and we were like, well, maybe he's working his way, around, going to try to come in behind us and look for the hen. And I still really don't know where he went.
I don't know where he went.
I have no idea.
But I'll be honest, when we called, and I know they both heard us because you could tell by the way she'd pick her head up, because the grass was so high, all you could see is her necks most of the time. But
right.
I to myself right then, I said, they're done. Those turkeys are done, because he didn't blow up. He didn't really seem interested from what I was looking at. I mean, I was still hoping, but
yeah, me too. I had a tag burn a hole in my pocket.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was hoping we'd get out of there, and what a way after the season we'd had to finish up would be killing one. And it still could have happened. I mean, one could have walked down the road. There were tracks all up and down through there. So even whether they
I heard a bird behind us gobble, but he only gobbled one time.
Right.
And
it could have been him.
It could have been, and then they linked up and then come around, but he just didn't seem interested, like it was over for him. And and it was starting to get super hot, and I had got I had a missed call from one of my friends that we do storm work together. And so me and Anthony decided, hey, let's go and eat at Molly Mondays and see what they got on the lunch special. So we ran up and, of course, had another delicious meal there. And I made a phone call while we were there, and that's when I found out that Houston had been hit hard and that they were wanting us to possibly come. They were possibly thinking about making a move and coming and helping the people of Houston out. And so we went back hunting, and when we parked and kind of went back in that same area, and what you had forgotten something. You said, I'm going to run back to the truck.
I left my Tetris in the truck. I didn't put them back in.
I said, well, I'm going to go ahead and I'll go down here and try to find a shaded spot to get in. And I had just got set down and looked to my left and seen a bird. And of course, I tried to text you and tell you that I had a bird there, and phone service it's not great.
No.
And you come around the corner, back around the edge of the woods, and come sit down. And I said, I had a bird right there, and I don't know what happened to it. It's gone. Well, it really wasn't gone. It stood back up, or come back up. The grass is so high.
Picked his head up. Looked like a periscope.
And it was a hen. Yeah, we seen this hen, and she just stayed in that area for, the next 30, 45 minutes, not really getting no hurry, and you just see her head come up and then go down, and then.
And it was so hot, I couldn't understand why she was standing out there in that blistering sun.
No, and then she made her way to the road, and when she got to the road, we figured out kind of what was going on. She was teaching those little ones how to bug, and all of a sudden there was a whole nother little group of posts. There was 5 of those, I believe.
That's right.
Binoculars.
If I counted right, they were darting everywhere, but yeah, that's what it looked like.
Yep. And she fed across the road, and they went with her, and then she popped back out on the road and crossed back over the road. They crossed a couple of times, so we got to see some more poults, and that was great. And it just wasn't really an eventful evening. There wasn't a whole lot going on, and I got the text that said we were for sure rolling and coming to Houston, and I told Anthony, I said, it was already what, 6?
Yeah,
after 6.
It was after 6. I wasn't going to make a suggestion to call it or not call it. It was your hunt. I was just there for moral support. So,
well, when you had a 2-hour trip home, and the night before, I got into bed like after 11 and got up at about 2:30 to try to be able to leave at 3, and drove up, and we really hadn't had. We took a little bit of a nap, but not much after lunch to try to stay out of the heat for a while, and so that helped. That got us home, but of course, this put me in a rush to get home because I needed to start packing, and I had to leave out to go to the office in Mobile the next day. I had to be down there the next day, and we were actually leaving out on Wednesday morning. So it was another late night for me, but that's just part of it when you work storms and you work out of town. Good thing is I've got everything kind of to where I can get to it quick. I've got storm bags and stuff like that already set up. But that took me pretty much away from the house, and I made it to Mobile, and we got up the next morning and started trying to get everything hooked up and ready to go. And it was a super long trip to Houston, Texas, following big trucks that will only do 60 going downhill, and me pulling a 32-foot camper, and the roads are as rough as they come once coming across Louisiana and Texas. I come across the bridge in Baton Rouge and hit a pothole on the bridge, and my stability link and ABS light come on, and I haven't even told you about this, but it caused me to not be able to use cruise control.
Oh no!
And so I'm holding the skinny pedal down until we finally stopped just before you get into Lake Charles. And we stopped at a truck stop, and when I shut the truck off and refueled, it reset everything. And I called our mechanic that travels with us, Alan, and he said, oh yeah, it probably thought you were in a skid, so it turned all that on. He said, it should be fine when you turn it off. He said, turn it off and make sure everything's off, pull the key out of it, and fuel up, and then see what it does. And of course, it reset itself, and everything was fine after that. But Jamie, my buddy Jamie, Jamie.
Oh yeah.
He came with me, and we got in Beaumont, Texas, and he had a car merge, just never check up, come to merge onto the interstate, and a box truck come over, and he got sandwiched, and one hit one side of his truck, one hit the other.
Oh no, I didn't even know about that.
Yeah, and the box truck hit our enclosed trailer and tore the messed the fender up on it. Jamie got really lucky. It put one on the passenger side of his little car, and it put a little black mark on his truck. Neither one of them ever stopped or checked up. They kept booking it.
Of course. And
the box truck, it knocked his mirror. You know how on all these new trucks the mirrors fold.
Yes.
It had actually sprung the mirror forward toward the front of the truck, so he couldn't see to try to get out of that lane to get, to merge lanes. But I ended up getting behind him. I dropped back, got behind him while the big truck was in front of him, and we got pulled off and checked the damage on his truck. And, there wasn't a whole lot really we could do because it happened so quick. There was no tag numbers gotten or anything like that. But like I say, his truck ended up being in pretty good shape considering. I mean, it could have been a lot worse. But it was a eventful traveling day.
It sounds like it.
Yeah. But we got to work and everything's going, and you know how it is, just ready to get home.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like from what we was talking earlier, it won't be quite as long, hopefully, if the weather holds out as they were thinking anyway. So y'all,
as long as a hurricane don't roll in while I'm here on tornadoes.
Yeah, I know. So, you and these storms, we've put off all of our studio work till after turkey season, and turkey season ended at about 10 after 6, and you left. It's been gone.
Well, I may have to get my nephew that's a contractor to come over and me pay him to help you on Saturdays to try to get this thing completed. And, I tell you, I had something pretty exciting happen this week though. I'm a great uncle again.
Oh, really?
My nephew that I'm talking about.
They had your baby, yes.
Yep. A big baby. 9 pounds and some change, and you know how small Kelly is.
Oh yeah, so, good Lord.
Yeah, they're both doing good. They're home already, and my mother said she was over there the other day, and that Chance was, changing diapers and all that. And he's, I mean, I knew he was going to be a good dad, and I knew Kelly would make a great mom, and they're finally seeing what. How special having kids are. I mean, it's something that, I know you've made a lot of accomplishments, and I have, or I feel like I have in my life, but I always say my kids are my greatest accomplishment because they've been good for me. They slowed me down when I was, young and a little more wild. And so I'm thankful for them, even though I think my oldest has totaled my brand new lawnmower out. I haven't told
really?
you about that either.
No. Oh well.
Yeah.
You'll have your hands full when you get back.
Once again, thank God for good neighbors. Bones to the rescue.
There you go.
He's done and went and took care of the lawnmower and fixed it. So I think Hunter called him in on a down low because I haven't heard anything about it.
Oh, okay. So this has been keeping quiet. Don't
Bones
say nothing to Dad.
Right, and he called me and he's like, "Hey, I was going to tell you why I was on your cameras." And I said, "Be honest with you, I'm out of town. I haven't even checked my cameras." And he said, "Well, I probably shouldn't have called you then." And he told me what happened. And and then I brought it up to the wife. But Hunter's her baby, so
Oh yeah, yeah.
but she's always telling me, "Well, you always change the subject." Well, guess who was changing the subject the whole time I was trying to find out about my lawnmower?
Yeah, I told her that night we got out of your truck. I expected her over here. We had a little get together Saturday for Memorial Day.
Yeah.
I don't like to call it having a party or anything like that because it is Memorial Day and it's the honor of those folks that give it all. So we could have
Absolutely.
have a cookout and fellowship, but she didn't show, of course. And then I waited till the next day and I just sent her a text, and it was either Sunday or Monday. I texted her and I said, "Hey, I want you to know I'm very disappointed in you." And she said, "I've had a migraine. I woke up with a migraine. I didn't get out of the bed. And I know all about my mother had migraines real bad, and so does the girl that works for me." And then I felt bad that I was teasing her a little bit. And I said, "Well, nobody's here, load up Grace and y'all come over. You and Rebecca can hang out and Grace can swim and, I can do what I do." And she said, "Well, Grace is in Huntsville with her cousin or something." I said, "Well, crap. Okay."
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, she fought a headache for a couple of days, and Laura's always doing something. She's not really one to sit around. And I called, because I've been so busy. Seriously, for the first 4 days I was here, we probably talked 40 minutes. These are 10-minute phone calls to say, "Hey, I'm beat. I'm still alive. Love y'all." And I got a chance to call kind of during the day, and she was off work and, for the weekend or whatever. And you could tell she had been asleep. And she said, "I don't know why I'm sleeping so much." She said, "My head's been hurting and I feel drained." So I think this was actually the day after she had the migraine. So it must have been a bad one.
Yeah.
It just had her, and I've had them like that where, it hurts so bad. You've taken everything you can. And about the only thing I can do is just go to the back bedroom where I'm not bothered and get in the dark just try to sleep.
I told her that day, she said, she was feeling better apparently because I said, "Well, come on over. You don't have to bring Grace. You and Rebecca can hang out on the dock or something." And it's like, "No, I've got too much to do around here." So she was back on her feet and back to taking care of the Miller household anyway.
Yeah, her. She loves to clean. That's her hobby. It's sad, but that is her hobby. And she was, she said that she had done some spring cleaning in the den and,
Wow.
that sort of thing. But we got plenty of time. We got a lot of summer left.
Oh, yeah.
And hopefully I can make it in and we can go to the Deer and Turkey Expo.
Yep.
That's kind of been a thing, man, you've been doing for the last several years.
Yeah, I can't wait because we do have so many people we've met and made friends with, and there's a lot of people to see and talk to. And of course, me, I'm shy. I don't like to talk.
Yeah, and I meet, I don't really like to meet strangers myself. People kid us all the time about, you talk so much and I barely talk, but when we're, and maybe on the podcast it's like that, but when we're out in public, I'm talking as much or more than you are. I love meeting people and talking and seeing what
everybody.
people been doing.
You run into more people that you know than I think I do know. So, we're always somewhere you run into somebody you used to hunt with or guide with or do something with. And yeah.
And that's the thing. Sometimes I don't remember names, but I always remember faces. That's like when we run up on what's his name, Barlow?
Oh yeah, Foster.
Yeah. We are at the NWTF. We've only been around the guy 3 or 4 days, and that was at a turkey camp we were at in South Dakota. And I told you, I said, "Hey, we know him." And of course, you spit his name out immediately. I was sitting there trying to get the name, but I knew the face. And he's someone that we need to contact.
Yes.
I mean, and get him on the show. I mean, my gosh,
he's a
he's
world class
got all kind
champion.
of stuff.
He's a shoots guns competition, and he's a heck of
Yeah.
a photographer. Takes some beautiful pictures. Him and his wife. So yeah,
Yes, they do
we need to touch
fantastic
base. We
stuff.
get him on one night and have him on, because I know he'd be a good person to talk to. And we get a perspective on the turkeys up in South Dakota this year. Hey, and I didn't tell you, and I know everybody out there really wants to hear me and you just talk about what I didn't tell you, but that's where we're vacationing this year, is Rockersville. I made all the arrangements today. I rented a cabin at the same place we were at, and rented a car and got the airline tickets. And we were fools for not flying. I mean, if we go back up there, we're flying round trip for me and her. Me and her together wasn't even $1,000 for round trip.
Yeah, and I mean, there's so much to see and do there. I think it'll be.
We're going.
I think she'll really enjoy it.
Well, I gave her choice. We go there or go back to Canada, and she said, "Let's go there," because she said, "Well, where do you want to go?" And I said, "Well, I've been to both of them in the past year. Really."
Yeah.
She hadn't been there. So, yeah, I mean, but we're going to stay September 1st through the 7th. We leave out on the 1st, and we come back on the 7th. That'll give us plenty of time to do everything. So.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And maybe find some things that me and you didn't find. So, because
I'm sure, yeah.
She told me today, we're going to have to take that hour drive and go to the Badlands National Park. I said, yeah, I saw it. I've been there. Well, we weren't really in the park, but we did stand on the side of the road and look at it. So,
yeah.
Anyway. Well, we've been rambling
hopefully,
on. Go ahead.
Yeah, hopefully we'll see, once again, like to apologize. Part of this is part of us not getting an episode out was me traveling and doing storm debris cleanup. But also, of course, Anthony had a busy weekend with his yearly gathering at the lake, and so of course he had to prep for that. And sometimes life gets full, but we hope to see everybody hopefully at the Deer and Turkey Expo in Birmingham in July.
Yeah,
we don't have a booth, but we'll probably be around the Legacy booth some and walking around just trying to meet people. I mean, we're really wanting to grow. So, and I think we are growing, and I hope things keep going good.
And that'll be what we said, the 19th, July 19th through the 21st in Birmingham. Yeah. I don't think the Talk About It boys are going to be there. I heard them on their podcast the other day. I think they got a competition.
They got a calling competition that weekend.
Well, they have just got they've got eat up with that stuff. I saw Alex today. I'm telling you, he's getting good on that trumpet. You may have to take some lessons from him.
I mean, but I got to give it to him. He's once he got going, I mean, he's putting the time in. He
got bit and he caught the disease. Yeah. Our old buddy Dean Redbeard, he says it's a damn disease, and it's true. And he's got to eat up with it. I'm not so sure he's not already got worse than Nick about these turkeys and calling, especially on the calling competition. So.
Yeah, he seems like he's got gas and will travel whenever there's competition. And the good thing is, Sawyer, his son, he's getting into it, and those competitions are only going to help Sawyer become a better turkey hunter, and he'll get to meet a lot of people, and it's a community like everything else. So Sawyer get to meet some other kids his age and compete against them, and I think he's going to do well. So
that's what it is, and I'd like to have went to this, but the World Championship calling contest is going to be in Mobile the 8th of July. I bet that's what screwed it all up. Because they're going.
And I was kind of going to ask you if if they were going to be there, me and you might run down and support them.
Well, I'd like to
catch
go
up
because
with
they're bringing in, that's where the Turkey Hunting Hall of Fame is going to be. And they're bringing,
Right.
Eddie Salter's getting inducted. He's going to be one of the first inductees, along with some other folks. But since we're kind of close with him, I follow that on. I think Mark Brenner, he's been posting a lot about it. He must be, some kind of, not, I don't know, a sponsor, supporter, part of it.
board member,
yeah, whatever
something.
it is. Now, what I do find interesting is they have my picture from the turkey page. They pulled my picture, the on the Alabama Turkey Hunters, I got like 5 gobblers walking across the field. That's the picture they're using in their advertising of it, which it don't bother me. I think it's a great picture. I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Though. But, they're, the Alabama Turkey Hunters Hall of Fame. They're going to induct their first members, which I know I saw somewhere. I know I don't see it right off the top of my head where who they're inducting, but I know Eddie Salters will be probably number 1. And I'm sure there's a lot of great conservationists and people you never heard of. And that's the ones I like to see get some recognition. Those guys, there's probably a whole lot better turkey hunters and callers out there than even Eddie is, but you'll never know who they are.
Right.
But anyway, I know we need to wrap this thing up. You got to get in the bed. I got to get in the bed. I got to finish packing. So, I'm glad we got together and got to get this one knocked out, and hopefully we'll get back on track this coming week. And maybe get ahead if we can. That'd be great. But once we figure out how to get 2 people on the cell phone, maybe we can get get a guest in here, even if you're having to be remote as well.
Well, and I've already got that figured out, so that won't be a problem.
Well, good.
Yep. So once again, we appreciate everybody supporting us, and hopefully we'll get creative on some content when it's not turkey season or deer season, and talk food plots and some other things. And we've got a few guests lined up that would be pretty interesting to talk to.
I'm really looking forward to one of them over Mississippi.
Yeah, that's right.
I got to touch base and get all that lined up. I'd prefer you be back in town when we do that, not have to remote both of you in.
That'd be great.
Well, all right. I guess we'll wrap it up if you got anything else. But once again,
nope, that's it.
We appreciate everybody listening. Tell a friend. Go out there and follow us. We're on all the socials. The podcast is on every platform that I can figure out how to get us on. Give us a 5-star review. It really helps us. It gets us promoted by these podcast platforms. So anyway, until next week, y'all be safe out there, and we will see you then.